Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Now this is my first video, so be patient and bear with me. In this video, I'm going to talk you through the foods you should be eating to gain the best results from bodybuilding. So for those of you that have recently started to work out and want to understand a bit more about how you can progress quicker, then this video will show you the basics of nutrition. I decided to make a video on this topic as when I first started going to the gym, I knew the basics in regards to training, but I had no idea what I should have been eating to fuel my workouts. So I wasted a lot of time eating the wrong kinds of foods. So I thought I would give you guys a head start, so you have a basic understanding of nutrition, and you can really use this to improve your overall progress. This video will cover the different types of foods and each of their roles. I'll also talk about macronutrient ratios and a couple of other things you may need to know. Anyway, that's enough of me rambling on. I hope you enjoy the video. Let's get started. Food can be divided into three main types, otherwise known as macronutrients. These are carbohydrates, proteins and fats. So I've divided these into three sections so you can visually see examples of each food types. First, we have carbohydrates. Secondly, we have proteins, and the third and final section are foods which are predominantly high in fat. So let's start with carbohydrates, or otherwise known as carbs. Now carbohydrates are our main source of energy. There are three types of carbohydrates. We have starches, sugars and fibre. Starches are otherwise known as complex carbohydrates. These provide long-lasting energy, as well as vitamins, minerals and fibre, which are all important to our health. Examples of complex carbs include oats, brown rice, sweet potato and starchy vegetables. The majority of carbohydrates that we consume throughout the day should come from complex carbs, as they slowly release long-lasting energy. So this ensures that our body has the energy required to fuel intense workouts. The second type of carbohydrates are sugars, otherwise known as simple carbs. Now these are our quickest source of energy, as they are broken down and digested very fast. Simple carbohydrates are found in foods such as fruits and milk. They are also found in processed and refined foods such as chocolate, sweets, syrup and soft drinks. However, the sugar found in foods like fruits is naturally occurring, and so they are much more nutritionally beneficial because of the vitamins and other micronutrients found in them, when you compare this to refined or processed sugars which have no or little nutritional benefit. Now refined sugars are the types of carbs that we should be limiting in our diets. While it's okay to enjoy these types of foods, it's important to remember to consume them in moderate amounts. So don't overindulge in these types of carbs. Finally, the third type of carbohydrate is fibre. There are two types of fibre. We have soluble fibre and insoluble fibre. Soluble fibre digests in the water within our digestive system, whereas insoluble fibre does not. Fibre is needed as it improves digestion, and it has also been shown to help prevent heart disease and diabetes. Examples of foods which contain soluble fibre are oats, root vegetables such as potatoes and carrots, as well as fruits such as bananas and apples. Examples of foods which contain insoluble fibre are things like cereals, nuts and wholemeal breads. Now that completes the carbohydrate section. Let's move on to proteins. Now without protein, it is impossible to build, repair or even maintain muscle tissue. Proteins are made up of amino acids, which are the building blocks of our muscles and body. Having a sufficient enough amount of protein throughout the day will place your body into an anabolic state, which is what allows you to build muscle. However, if you do not consume enough protein, your body will be placed into a catabolic state. And this is really bad for anybody who is trying to build muscle, as firstly, you won't be able to build any new muscle, and secondly, your body can actually start to break down existing muscle tissue and use it as a source of energy. That is why it's so important, especially when bodybuilding, to consume enough protein, as ultimately, your aim is to build your body. Now in regards to how much protein we need to build new muscle, there is no magic number. So for example, you may have heard somebody say they consume in excess of 250 grams of protein per day. And that may be true. However, the guy may also weigh 250 pounds. So just because they do it does not mean that that amount is right for you. So how much protein should you be having? Past research studies have shown that 1.8 to 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight is a sufficient enough amount of protein per day for strength athletes. So, to give you guys an example, if we were to base this on an 80 kilo individual, they would need between 144 and 160 grams of protein per day. One study even showed that as little as 1.2 grams per kilogram of body weight per day is a suitable enough amount of protein for strength athletes. What I'm trying to get at is there is no magic number. People think way too much into this. A lot of people worry that they aren't consuming enough protein, when in reality, you're probably actually consuming more than enough. I personally would recommend using the guidelines of 1.8 to 2 grams per kilogram of body weight per day. And by spacing this out with a number of meals throughout the day, you will ensure that your body remains in an anabolic state, meaning we are able to build new and repair existing muscle tissue. I would also recommend reassessing your protein intake every 4 to 5 weeks, as if you are gaining weight, it only makes sense that your protein requirements also increase. That completes the protein section. Now let's move on to our final macronutrient, which is fat. Now some people believe that fat is directly linked with making people fat or overweight, when in reality it's actually consuming an excess amount of calories which can make you gain weight. It's all about getting the right balance and eating in moderation. Dietary fat is essential as it is a source of energy, it is needed for proper brain and nerve function, it allows us to extract essential fatty acids from foods which our body does not have the ability to make itself, and it is also needed for maintaining healthy skin and other tissue. Now, there are a number of different types of fats. The two most common are saturated and unsaturated fats. Saturated fats are considered as bad or unhealthy fats, as this includes foods such as cheese, butter and cakes. The other type of fat is unsaturated. Now these are considered good or healthy fats and can be further categorized as polyunsaturated and monounsaturated fats. Past research has shown that by replacing foods which are high in saturated fats with polyunsaturated fats can actually reduce cholesterol levels and lower the risk of developing cardiovascular disease. Examples of foods which contain unsaturated fat include nuts, avocado, olives and salmon. It is important to remember that these are the types of fatty foods you should be eating. So, how much of each food type should you be eating? Now, in regards to macronutrient ratios, everybody is different. However, I would recommend using the 50-30-20 split, meaning 50% of our daily calorie intakes should come from carbohydrates, 30% should come from proteins, and the remaining 20% should come from dietary fats. I hope this video was helpful and answered any questions you have in regards to nutrition. But again, this is just a brief overview, as I personally wish I had something like this to work towards when I first started going to the gym. It increases your knowledge of food you should be eating and what you should be avoiding. It also educates you in portion sizes, so you know how much of each food type you may need to reach your daily goals. Now all this talk of food has made me hungry, so I'm going to go and make something up with all this. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please click like, subscribe, as I'll be uploading a new video next week. If you have any suggestions for future videos, please comment in the comment section below and I'll see what I can do. Thanks for watching guys, see you next time.